It is still Niger Delta Today. Nigeria may finally be considering what was once unthinkable, selling off its state-owned refineries. NNPC's CEO, Bayo Ojulare, says all options are on the table as a strategic review of the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna plant nears conclusion. So it is time to let go, or what would that mean for fuel supply, jobs, and local refining? Joining us now to break it down and bring to understanding the situation of things is an energy expert and consultant, Dr. Wisdom Enang. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Dr. Wisdom Enang, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, this issue of NNPCL and the conversation around a possible sale, I mean, it raises a lot of questions and reactions are already trooping in, especially from people who had before now received a lot of promises about how functional the refineries are. And people are raising questions as to the honesty of all of this, especially with the humongous amounts of money that have been sunk into resuscitating these refineries. What does this spell for the country?
All right, thank you very much. I think when you talk about the refinery functionality and all the work that has been put in, I think there's a trade-off that every administration tries to balance. The trade-off of, Nigeria owning a government-owned refinery and the trade-off of making a business case. I think up until the current NNPCL administration, all the previous administrations have always been of the opinion that, look, it would make sense for us to have a national, refinery, just as much as we're pushing the agenda for a national air carrier. So it's more like a price thing. But does it make business sense? I've said it already on multiple shows, including your show, that previously that the issue with this refinery is the issue of reliability. You look at the three fundamental issues that the former president, General Olusegun Obasanjo, retired said. He said there were a number of issues that Shell pointed out when he spoke to them and asked them to take up this refinery. And the three fundamental issues have always been, one, the scale of the refinery, they said, was not going to allow them that a wiggle room for profitability. We can, with the benefit of hindsight, see that when we compare the scale, that is obtained versus the Dangote refinery. There's no economies of scale with the Dangote refinery. Number two, we also talked about the fact that the governance structure of the refinery meant that they had to take orders from, certain political quarters, and that wasn't going to help, and we cited that as part of the reasons why Shell declined. And the third reason was the nature of the operational and maintenance philosophy that has been used on that refinery. Means it breaks down every now and then, and the upgrade method, it means that they always go for modular approach of the upgrade, so they could upgrade one system and then they still have to work with a system that is rather moribund or old. And if you look at what the auxiliary led administration for the NNPCL saying, that they have issues when they have equipment upgrade and they still have to work with moribund systems because, those systems were built for a long time. They also have issues when things are being, they have a startup and then the plant don't function as required. So a lot of these things are things that are fundamentally within the three key areas that Shell identified. Me back to the question, how are we doing our lessons current analysis? Are we learning from history, or are we keep doing the same thing, basically expecting a different answer? I think much earlier, your show previously that the auxiliary-led administration was full of a lot of experts that are going to come back, they're going to do stop, think, and act, they're going to stop, rethink their operations, and then act based on the business case because they've been empowered to do so. So those decisions, frankly, are things that are expected to be brought to the table. Now, what does that mean from, holistically speaking? Does that mean that, they're going to sell it to someone else who's going to run it differently? Does that mean that they're going to sell it to someone who's going to run it like like a blending plant? What is exactly going to be the new purpose of that refinery? I don't know.
Okay, Dr. Wisdom. Okay, Dr. Wisdom, let's look at the aspect of deregulation. We've always had the talk about deregulation, and but some whispers have it that this sale, the proposed sale, or talk about the sale of the refineries, might be against Nigeria's deregulation strategy or move. And some have it that this is just a move out of desperation. You think the refineries have what's the viability like if this goes through, if after review they conclude on selling the refineries?
All right. So when you talk about deregulation, you're talking about not fixing prices. You're talking about willing buyer, willing seller. When you talk about deregulation, you're talking about endangering market competition. So all of those are better off handled when you have private players in the system. So even if we sell the refineries and send them off, we'll have to have commitment from those that are building those refineries. How are they going to ensure that they do have they do solve the problem of the refineries and bring them on stream? Just because of the drill or drop provisions and attitude of the current administration, where they feel you cannot hold on to assets just for the sake of owning those assets as a collateral. You will have to invest in those assets and start producing those assets. This is what they've done with the oil and gas field. Even if you pay your bonus and you are not producing the assets, they will get them from you. What I expect to happen is that when it goes through the sale, whoever is bidding will have to put forward their commitment. Whoever is bidding, there's going to be a clause, a kind of a clause that says if you do not operationalize this refinery by the first time, we'll have the right to revoke it and then we bid it out to somebody else. I think those clauses are exactly what will ensure that we don't have a supply shortage from that point. And if we have enough supply in the market, then we can actually, think against the monopolistic situation, which is what the regulation is trying to solve. The regulation is trying to solve where there's enough supply, there's enough demand, and there's that interaction that creates a price equilibrium that's fair for everybody, but nobody has complete control of the market. So
all right.
Going forward, that's what the regulators need to do.
All right, Dr. Enang. Well, human rights and legal voices are of the opinion that the NNPCL may not have the right, eventually, when it's looked at, to go ahead with this process if it does not have a federal and constitutional backing. Do you think that this is accurate? And then give us some understanding as regards what you feel this would do to the energy sector, peradventure this sale were to go through. Do you think it's going to spell some good or positives in the pipeline?
Yeah, I think it's going to spell some good for the energy sector. We are witnessing a very euphoric moment where we have players from the indigenous side of things coming on board, taking over things that were predominantly done by international players, and they're doing very well. So I have no doubt that we have currently companies or consortiums that can come together and take over that refining operation. There's no doubt of my mind at all.
Okay.
When it comes to getting an alignment with the federal government, I do believe that there's some sort of notional alignment on, okay, let's review the possibilities with this refinery and let's put up a recommendation. And finally, that will be approved first by the downstream regulator and then upwards by the Minister for Petroleum, who is the president.
All right. Senior energy consultant and expert, Dr. Wisdom Enang, thank you very much for coming on Niger Delta today. I appreciate your ideas. The coming weeks and months will be interesting. We'll see what the NNPCL will eventually come up with. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Wisdom Enang.